Hello, everyone. Welcome back to yet another political episode. Yesterday there was a presidential election in the Islamic Republic of Iran, one of our country's most greatest opponents. We're going to be figuring out who the next regime leader is going to be. And just recently, a helicopter crash killed the president of Iran and blanket on his name because here's the thing. Unlike regimes like North Korea, along with North Korea, China, and Russia, you know the figures and the dictators. Russia has Vladimir Putin, China has Xi Jinping, and North Korea has Kim Jong Un. Iran has the Ayatollah. And that's kind of the main figurehead of the Islamic Republic of Iran. Leaders, you don't really take a magnifying glass and identify the leader by heart. But yes, the last president before that election was Ebrahim Raisi, and Raisi was sort of the guy responsible for creating the Israel-Hamas war. He helped fundraise and pay for the Hamas troops and militants to attack Israel from the Gaza, and then suddenly he got some karma. He perished in a helicopter crash. Oof. And now there's the acting president. The acting president is currently Mohammed Mokber. And he isn't running in this election. He might have, I don't know. First election, where's the first round results? I don't think Burr is candidate, but he's an independent, and I've heard no intents of him running in this said election. But there have been uh, we got our two leaders here. We have Masoud Pezeshkian, who is technically an independent, but he made an alliance with the Reformist political party. And the Reformists is more of a center sort of Shia Islam, an Iranian nationalist and national conservative political party, once again. And yeah, it somewhat has 20 seats in the parliament of Iran. But yeah, it looks like they're getting a historic victory. And it looks like this election's in their favor, according to polls we're seeing right now. You're seeing Jalal, I believe, who is the running mate. He managed to get 22%. Galibaf, yeah, I think he was eliminated. But he comes from Progress and Justice Population of Islamic Iran. This is another conservative political party, and once again, Iran is a conservative country at most. You got Hashami. He withdrew and endorsed Jalali along with Galibaf and Zakani. Zakani, he withdrew in favor of Galibaf and Jalali. And then we have this guy with a very long name. Poor Mohammadi. Poor Mohammadi. He's done. So it's essentially you got two leaders. Saeed Jalali and Masoud Pezeshkian. Which one would you rather have win? I don't know. This is sort of the election where, you know what, it doesn't really matter who we root for. It's pretty much evident that the president of Iran will be forced to be very toxic and very brutal towards the United States, undiplomatic, because that's how Iran has always ran. Unlike North Korea and Russia and China, Iran is so toxic that they don't even want to meet with us because Iran has demonized the United States as satanic. They refer to the United States as Satan's republic, Satan's country on earth. And as you know, you don't want to I don't know. Muslims believe probably in the same thing, but you Christians also, as Christians, we believe, yeah, we shouldn't have to associate with anything related to Satan and the evil one. And that's sort of how the Muslims and the Persians, the Iranians think of this too. We should not associate or talk with anything related to the evil one. And that is the United States. So that's why they have this very extremely toxic nature. They don't even want to talk with the United States. They do not look forward to it at all. And who knows, maybe Masao Pazakian is against this toxic nature, but if he is elected president by Iran, he will be forced to be toxic. He will be forced to, and this he knows he will. And that's how you'll be a strong leader in Iran. You have to be condemning to the United States. You have to stand up against American imperialism. You got to support Hamas, Hezbollah, and the Houthis. You got to denounce the Saudi influence in Yemen. You got to do everything. And supposedly, Iran is a big neocon country. It is internationally involved around the Middle East, specifically in affairs in Yemen and Palestine. But yes, that's usually how it kind of goes. But yeah, anyway, Saeed Jalali, I'm these two are technically independents. He comes from the Principalists, and this is a far right political party. Far right. Nationalism, fundamentalism, pragmatism, populism, traditionalism, Islamism, political Islam, theocracy, so much here. Let's see, yeah. Ibrahim Rassi, he came from the CCA, that's another right-wing political party, Combatant Clergy Association. And previously, we know this guy. He was the president during the Trump era. Hassan Rouhani, and they, as you know, being forced to be undiplomatic. This resulted to Soleimani getting killed and a bunch of U.S. bases getting blown up. So yeah, there's no such thing as being diplomatic. We saw Donald Trump being diplomatic with Kim Jong-un. Kim Jong-un stopped the nuclear said missiles and all that stuff in Trump's favor. However, there's been some debate and etc. etc. But along with Russia. Russia didn't invade a country under Trump, so diplomacy worked there. And then we got China. China diplomacy was a little bit rougher compared to North Korea and Russia. There was the Chinese American Sino-American trade war, which continues to the present day. And but then again, there was no such thing as a threat of an invasion of Taiwan. But then again, we get to Iran, and Iran is pretty much the only country where war and military disputes kind of existed between between the two powers, and that's because of that Iranian narrative that the United States is satanic and there is no such thing as diplomacy. They do depend on diplomacy. They do depend because, believe it or not, they don't want the war. They don't like wars, and that's why they decided not to pursue a war with the United States. Remember, everyone was fear mongering after the death of Soleimani. World War III, we're gonna get drafted. Blah blah blah. Well, yeah, all the Iranians did was shoot down American bases along the borders in, I believe, Iraq. But yeah, along this area. But yes, they took out military bases. They didn't declare war. And you know what? I don't know what we did in retaliation, but it was very mild because both powers didn't want war. It's not worth it, essentially. This isn't Archduke Franz Ferdinand 2.0, okay? This isn't meant to be the Third World War. So, interesting. Yes, Abraham Rassi ran against Rouhani, And I think Rouhani is a centrist, yeah, a centrist. But in the United States, if he came to the United States and um, debated his issues compared to American issues, he would be extremely far right, um, too. So yes, extremely far right, but far right's extremely different in Iran. And centrists, you have centrists being anti-American, anti-gay. That's considered centrists, and if not left wing. Left wing is more concerned about the Iranian people, if not um, workers' rights, once again, peasants' rights in the country of Iran. Believe it or not, Iran was founded under a left wing revolution. The Islamic Revolution of Iran was launched by left wing students. And the Ayatollah was actually a left wing leader. He was not as left wing as Saddam Hussein at the time, and he also condemned Saddam Hussein's Islamic socialism. He condemned socialism and communism altogether, but he did advocate for the abolition of the monarchy, and he did unify what he called the left. And yes, and when it came to presidential elections, uh, I don't know if this guy's the very first president of Iran, 1980, but yes, when the Islamic Revolution took place, yeah, it was extremely launched by, as you know, left wing anti monarchy um, revolutions. You'll see social injustice was a prominent cause, and the Ayatollahs condemned social injustice and ran on the idea of social justice, Islamic social justice, and he's more of the Islamic social justice advocate. But eventually, what happens 10 years later, Iran continues to radicalize because, believe it or not, the revolution was fought in the left's favor, right? It was fought in more of the left's favor. And in the end of the day, when Iran becomes independent, as you know, a country under a republic, and that republic begins to reform and more of its leaders continue to get elected and that legislator continues to be built up, guess what happens? The country shifts to the right because once again, Iran begins to radicalize. It gets more religious with the idea that the United States is a satanic country and once again a secularist country. Once again, and they start, and also not to mention they go to war with Iraq. They go to war with Saddam Hussein, a socialist country. And that narrative that the Ba'athist socialists are going to take over Iran really fed into Iranian politics, and of course, that's where we get a lot of right wing leaders, specifically like Ali Khamenei, who comes from the IRP, the Islamic Republican Party, which is one of a Big Ten political party, but if you had to eliminate that, it would be very far right. The CCA, that is a right wing political party, anti Zionism, anti imperialism. Yeah, in Iran, anti imperialism is very right wing. I mean, anti imperialism worldwide is seen as left wing because usually the anti imperialists in Africa, in like in Angola and Algeria, Mozambique, and the like, they clinched onto communism and to Marxism. We saw those countries, right? But Iran, they were anti-imperialist, but with that religious perspective that Satanists are controlling the United States, they managed to turn anti-imperialism and flock to the right. So that is a very interesting said result. So what do you guys think in regards to Iran? A runoff will be declared. Let's see. A runoff is set on July 5th. We'll be covering that. We'll also be covering the United Kingdom election. United Kingdom is having a election, and we know their elections are extremely different. They don't elect by, as you know, it's a prime minister, so the amount of seats won by each party and each party gets to elect. We'll go from there and elect the said prime minister. But that's supposed to be an interesting election because it looks like the Labour Party, the more liberal political party, is going to get a sweeping victory after years of conservative rule in the United Kingdom. But what do you guys think? Let me know down in the comments. Who do you guys think will win? Masoud Pezeshkian or Saeed Jalali? Anyway, I want to thank you all for watching. I'll see you all in the next political episode.